The bustling spaceport of Nexus Prime buzzed with activity. A blend of alien languages and the whir of engines filled the air. Amidst the chaos, a figure stood out, not for her striking appearance, but for the wide space given to her by the crowd. Selena, with her ethereal blue skin and piercing silver eyes, was accustomed to the fear and suspicion that followed her like a shadow. She moved with fluid grace, her long, iridescent hair flowing behind her as she navigated through the throng. The whispers began almost immediately, a ripple of unease spreading through the diverse crowd of species. "It's her," one Mirian voice said. "The destroyer of worlds," another added, the words laced with venoms. Selena kept her gaze fixed ahead, her face an impassive mask that concealed the turmoil within. She had long ago learned to ignore the stares and the murmurs, but that didn't make them sting any less. Her fingers twitched at her sides, a faint blue glow emanating from her skin, a reminder of the power that coursed through her veins, the very thing that made her both feared and hunted. As she approached a rundown freighter, a young man caught her eye. Unlike the others, he didn't shrink away or divert his gaze. Instead, he observed her with open curiosity, his warm brown eyes filled with something Selena hadn't encountered in a long time: compassion. The man, Kai, felt an inexplicable pull towards the mysterious blue-skinned woman. He had heard the tales, of course. Everyone in the galaxy knew of the Mirians and their formidable abilities. But as he watched her navigate the hostile crowd with quiet dignity, he saw something beyond the rumors and fear-mongering. Before he could second-guess himself, Kai stepped forward. "Excuse me," he called out, his voice slicing through the commotion. The spaceport froze, her entire body tensing as she slowly turned to face him. Her silver eyes narrowed, scanning for any sign of threat. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice low and melodic, with an otherworldly quality that sent a shiver down Kai's spine. Kai raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "I couldn't help but notice you're headed towards that old freighter. If you're looking for transport, I'd be happy to offer my services. My ship's faster and in much better condition." Selena's eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed again in suspicion. "Why would you help me? Don't you know who I am?" Kai shrugged, a lopsided grin spreading across his face. "I know the stories, sure. But I also know that stories aren't always the whole truth. Besides, everyone deserves a chance, don't they?" For a moment, Selena simply stared at him, her expression unreadable. Then, almost imperceptibly, her shoulders relaxed. "Very well," she said softly. "Lead the way." As Kai guided Selena towards his ship, the crowd parted before them, a mix of fear and fascination on their faces. Selena could feel their eyes boring into her back. But for the first time in years, she didn't feel quite so alone. Kai's ship, the Stargazer, was a sleek vessel that stood out among the other weathered crafts in the docking bay. As they approached, Selena couldn't help but admire its elegant lines and well-maintained exterior. "She's beautiful," Selena murmured, running a hand along the ship's hull. Kai beamed with pride. "Thanks. I've put a lot of work into her. She might not look like much compared to some of the fancy ships out there, but she's got it where it counts." As they boarded the Stargazer, Selena felt a twinge of apprehension. It had been a long time since she had allowed herself to be in such close quarters with anyone, but there was something about Kai's easy manner and genuine smile that put her at ease. The interior of the ship was just as impressive as the exterior, with state-of-the-art technology seamlessly integrated into a comfortable living space. Kai gave her a quick tour before settling into the pilot's seat. "So," he said, swiveling to face her. "Where to?" Selena hesitated, her silver eyes clouding with uncertainty. I don't know," she admitted softly. "I've been running for so long, I'm not sure I remember what it's like to have a destination." Kai's expression softened, compassion filling his warm brown eyes. "Well, how about we start with somewhere safe? I know a place in the Outer Rim, a little colony called Haven. It's off the beaten path, and they don't ask too many questions." Selena nodded, grateful for the suggestion. As Kai began the pre-flight checks, she settled into the co-pilot's seat, her gaze fixed on the bustling spaceport beyond the viewscreen. "Why are you helping me?" she asked, suddenly turning to face Kai. "You must know the risks." Kai paused, his hands hovering over the controls. He met Selena's gaze, his expression serious. I've always believed in giving people a chance, no matter what others say about them. And honestly, I've never been one to follow the crowd. A small smile tugged at the corners of Selena's mouth, the first genuine expression of emotion Kai had seen from her. That's a dangerous way to live in this galaxy. Kai grinned, the tension broken. Maybe, but it's also a lot more interesting. With that, he engaged the engines, and the Stargazer lifted off smoothly, leaving Nexus Prime behind. As they broke atmosphere and entered the inky blackness of space, Selena felt a weight lift from her shoulders. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to relax, if only slightly. "So," Kai said, breaking the comfortable silence that had fallen between them, "I know it's probably not my place to ask, but what's your story? How did you end up on Nexus Prime?" Selena tensed, her fingers gripping the armrests of her seat. For a moment, Kai thought she wouldn't answer. But then she took a deep breath, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been running for 3 years," she began. "Ever since the incident on Tel's IE." Kai's eyes widened in recognition. "Tel's IE? You mean the city that was destroyed?" "Yes." Selena's voice was heavy with guilt and sorrow. "It was me. I lost control." The silence that followed was deafening. Kai struggled to process this information, to reconcile the gentle, vulnerable woman beside him with the destructive force he'd heard about in hushed whispers across the galaxy. "It was an accident," Selena continued, her voice breaking. "I never meant to hurt anyone, but my powers, they're not always easy to control, especially when I'm afraid or angry." Kai reached out hesitantly, placing a hand on Selena's arm. To his surprise, she didn't pull away. "What happened?" he asked gently. Selena closed her eyes, lost in the painful memory. "I was being pursued by bounty hunters. They had cornered me in the city center. I tried to surrender to avoid any collateral damage. But one of them, he fired into the crowd to create a distraction. A child was hit." Her voice trembled as she continued. "I saw her fall, saw the blood, and something inside me just snapped. The next thing I knew, everything around me was disintegrating. Buildings, vehicles, people, all turned to dust. By the time I regained control, half the city was gone." Tears streamed down Selena's cheeks, leaving glowing trails on her blue skin. Kai felt his heart breaking for her, understanding now the weight of guilt and fear she carried. "Selena," he said softly, "it wasn't your fault. You were trying to protect innocent people." She shook her head vehemently. "It doesn't matter. I couldn't control my power. And people died because of it. That's why I can never stop running. The consortium will never stop hunting me, and I can't risk losing control like that again." Kai's jaw set in determination. "We'll figure something out. I promise. I'll help you find a way to control your abilities. You don't have to face this alone anymore." Selena looked at him, hope and fear warring in her silver eyes. "Wise. Why would you risk everything for someone you just met?" Kai smiled, a warmth spreading through his chest. "Because everyone deserves a second chance, Selena, and I have a feeling you're worth fighting for." For a moment, Selena was speechless, overwhelmed by the unexpected kindness. Then slowly she nodded, a fragile hope blossoming within her. As the Stargazer cruised through the vast expanse of space, Kai and Selena fell into an easy rhythm. Days passed, filled with long conversations and comfortable silences. Kai shared stories of his adventures as a freelance pilot and engineer, while Selena gradually opened up about her life before the incident on Tel's IE. "My people, the Myriads. We weren't always feared," she explained one evening as they sat in the ship's small galley. "Our abilities were once celebrated, used to help and heal, but as our power grew, so did the fear and mistrust of other species." Kai listened intently, fascinated by the history Selena shared. "What changed?" Selena's eyes grew distant, her voice tinged with sadness. "Greed, ambition. Some Myriads began to use their powers for personal gain, manipulating time and matter to amass wealth and influence. Others sold their services to the highest bidder, becoming living weapons in conflicts across the galaxy." She paused, her fingers tracing patterns on the table surface. Those of us who refused to use our abilities for such purposes became outcasts, hunted by our own people, and feared by everyone else. Kai reached across the table, gently taking Selena's hand in his. "I'm sorry you had to go through that. It must have been incredibly lonely." Selena nodded, a small smile playing at her lips. "It was. But for the first time in years, I don't feel quite so alone anymore." Their moment of connection was abruptly shattered by the blaring of alarms. Kai jumped to his feet, rushing to the cockpit with Selena close behind. "What's happening?" Selena asked, her voice tight with worry. Kai's fingers flew over the controls, his expression grim. "We've got company. 3 ships closing fast, consortium markings." Selena's face paled, her skin taking on an almost translucent quality. How did they find us so quickly?" "I don't know," Kai replied, his jaw set in determination. "But I'm not letting them take you without a fight." The stargazer shuddered as the first volley of weapons fire struck its shields. Kai's hands moved with practiced ease, guiding the ship through a series of evasive maneuvers. "Hang on!" he shouted as he threw the ship into a steep dive, barely avoiding another barrage of laser fire. Selena gripped the arms of her seat, her heart pounding. She could feel her power surging within her, responding to her fear and adrenaline. "Kai, I don't know if I can control it if we're hit." Kai spared her a quick glance, his eyes filled with unwavering trust. "You can do this, Selena. I believe in you. Just focus on staying calm." His words seemed to anchor her, and Selena took a deep breath, forcing herself to center her thoughts. She watched in awe as Kai piloted the ship with incredible skill, weaving through asteroid fields and executing maneuvers she'd never seen before. But the consortium ships were relentless, matching their every move. A particularly well-aimed shot rocked the stargazer, causing sparks to fly from a nearby console. "Shields are down to 30%, Kai reported, his voice strained. "We can't take much more of this." Selena made a decision then, one that filled her with equal parts terror and resolve. "Kai, I have an idea, but it's risky." Kai nodded, not taking his eyes off the view screen. "At this point, I'm open to suggestions." "I can create a temporal bubble around the ship," Selena explained quickly. "It will slow down time outside the bubble, giving us a chance to escape. But I've never attempted something on this scale before. If I lose control..." Kai reached out, squeezing her hand briefly. "I trust you, Selena. Whatever happens, we're in this together." Selena nodded, closing her eyes and raising her hands. She took a deep breath, centering herself as she had been taught so long ago. The air around her began to shimmer, a faint blue glow emanating from her skin. Kai watched in awe as the space around the stargazer seemed to ripple and distort. Outside the view screen, the pursuing consortium ships appeared to slow their movements, becoming sluggish and uncoordinated. "It's working!" Kai exclaimed, his fingers flying over the controls as he plotted a new course. "You're doing it, Selena!" Selena didn't respond, her face a mask of intense concentration. Sweat beaded on her forehead, her entire body trembling with the effort of maintaining the temporal bubble. Kai guided the stargazer through the distorted space, weaving between the now frozen laser blasts and debris. As they cleared the immediate danger, he spared a glance at Selena. His elation turned to concern as he saw the strain on her face. "Selena," he said softly, "we're clear. You can let go now." But Selena didn't seem to hear him. The blue glow around her intensified, spreading throughout the ship. Kai felt a strange sensation, as if reality itself was bending around them. "Selena," he called out more urgently, reaching for her. "You need to stop." The moment his hand touched her arm, Selena's eyes flew open. They were glowing, an intense silver filled with a power that both awed and terrified Kai. "I can't," she whispered, her voice echoing strangely. "I can't control it." The ship groaned, metal twisting as the fabric of space-time warped around them. Alarms blared, warning of imminent structural failure. Kai knew he had only seconds to act. Without hesitation, he unbuckled himself and moved to kneel in front of Selena, cupping her face in his hands. He forced her to look at him. "Selena, listen to me," he said firmly, his brown eyes locked on her glowing silver ones. "You are stronger than this. You are not your power. You control it. Come back to me." For a moment, nothing changed. Then, slowly, the glow in Selena's eyes began to fade, the distortion around the ship lessening. Reality snapped back into place with a jolt that threw Kai to the floor. As the alarms quieted and the ship stabilized, Kai pulled himself up to find Selena slumped in her seat, exhausted but conscious. "You did it," he said softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You saved us." Selena looked up at him, her eyes filled with a mix of wonder and fear. I've never been able to stop it before. How did you?" Kai smiled, taking her hand in his. "I told you, I believe in you. Sometimes, that's all it takes." The moment was interrupted by a beeping from the navigation console. Kai reluctantly let go of Selena's hand to check their position. His eyes widened in disbelief. "Selena, you're not going to believe this. We're in the Andromeda Galaxy," Selena gasped, her exhaustion momentarily forgotten. "That's impossible. Andromeda is over 2 million light-years away." Kai shook his head, double-checking the readings. "Apparently not impossible for you. You didn't just slow time, Selena. You folded space itself." The implications of what she had done began to sink in. Selena had always known her powers were extraordinary. But this was beyond anything she had ever imagined possible. "The consortium will never find us here," Kai said, a note of excitement in his voice. "We can start over. Find a place where you can learn to control your abilities without fear." Selena nodded slowly, still processing the magnitude of what had happened. I like that," she said softly. As Kai began to plot a course to the nearest habitable system, Selena gazed out at the unfamiliar stars of Andromeda. For the first time in years, she felt a glimmer of hope for the future. But their respite was short-lived, as they approached a small, blue-green planet that seemed promising for a new start. The stargazer's sensors began to blare with urgent warnings. "What now?" Selena asked, tension creeping back into her voice. Kai's fingers danced over the control panel, his brow furrowed in concentration. "I'm not sure. These readings, they're like nothing I've ever seen before." The view screen flickered, displaying a swirling vortex of energy that seemed to be forming directly in their path, brilliant hues of purple and blue pulsing within the anomaly, growing larger by the second. "Is it some kind of wormhole?" Selena wondered aloud, leaning forward to get a better look. Kai shook his head, his expression grim. "No, this is something else entirely. It's as if reality itself is tearing apart." Before either of them could react further, the vortex expanded rapidly, engulfing the stargazer in a blinding flash of light. Selena felt a sickening lurch in her stomach, as if she was being pulled in every direction at once. In a panic, she reached out blindly, her hand finding Kai's and gripping it tightly. When the light faded and the disorientation passed, they found themselves in a place that defied description. The void of space had been replaced by a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes that seemed to shift and change with every passing moment. Fragments of landscapes floated by, snippets of alien worlds and familiar places alike. "Where are we?" Kai whispered, his voice filled with awe and a hint of fear. Selena's eyes widened as realization dawned on her. I think we're between realities. My people have legends of such places, but I never believed they were real." As they watched, the fragments around them began to coalesce, forming a more coherent environment. They found themselves in what appeared to be a vast, otherworldly library. Shelves stretched as far as the eye could see, filled with books and artifacts from countless worlds and timelines. A figure appeared before them, seemingly materializing out of thin air. It was humanoid in shape, but its form shimmered and shifted, never quite settling on a single appearance. "Welcome, travelers," the being said, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "We have been expecting you." Kai and Selena exchanged a bewildered look before Kai found his voice. "You've been expecting us? How is that possible?" The being's form rippled, a hint of amusement in its tone. "In this place, all times and all possibilities exist simultaneously. Your arrival has always been, just as it is happening now and will happen again." Selena stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. "Who are you? What is this place?" "We are the custodians," the being replied. "This is the nexus, the crossroads of all realities. We maintain the balance between dimensions and guard the knowledge of the multiverse." The being turned its attention to Selena, its form briefly taking on a Mirian appearance. You, child of Mimiria, have a greater purpose than you know. Your abilities are not a curse, but a key to unlocking the secrets of reality itself. Selena felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation at these words. But I can barely control my powers. How can I possibly have such a purpose? The custodian's form shifted again, this time resembling a wise old scholar. That is why you are here. In this place, you will learn to master your abilities and understand your true potential. Kai, who had been listening intently, spoke up. And what about me? Why was I brought here? The being turned to him, its form now reminiscent of a seasoned starship captain. You, Kai, are the anchor. Your unwavering belief and support are what Selena needs to embrace her destiny. Your roles are intertwined, two halves of a greater whole. As the implications of the custodian's words sank in, Selena and Kai found themselves looking at each other with new understanding. The connection they had felt from the beginning suddenly made sense in a way they couldn't have imagined. So what happens now? Asked Selena, her voice filled with a mix of determination and uncertainty. The custodian's form shifted once more, taking on an appearance that blended aspects of both Selena and Kai. Now you begin your true journey. The knowledge and training you will receive here will prepare you for the challenges that lie ahead. The fate of not just one reality, but countless others may rest on your shoulders. With a wave of its hand, the custodian revealed a shimmering portal. Beyond it, they could see glimpses of incredible technologies, ancient wisdom, and cosmic wonders beyond imagining. Through here, you will find the tools and knowledge you need, the custodian explained. But be warned, the path will not be easy. You will face trials that will test not only your abilities, but your bond with each other. Kai reached out and took Selena's hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. We're ready, he said, his voice filled with determination. Whatever challenges we face, we'll face them together. Selena nodded, drawing strength from Kai's unwavering support. I've spent so long running from my powers, from who I am. It's time I embraced my true self, whatever that may be. The custodian nodded approvingly. Then step forward and let your training begin. As they stepped through the portal, Selena and Kai found themselves in a chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The floor beneath their feet was solid, yet the walls and ceiling appeared to be made of swirling cosmic energy. Your first lesson, the custodian's voice echoed around them, is to understand the true nature of your abilities, Selena. They are not simply manipulation of energy and matter, but a connection to the very fabric of reality itself. Selena closed her eyes, focusing on the energy she could feel coursing through her. For the first time, she didn't try to suppress it or control it, but simply allowed herself to experience it fully. As she did so, something extraordinary happened, and soak. The swirling energies of the room began to respond to her, creating intricate patterns and shapes in the air around her. Kai watched in awe as Selena's body began to glow with a soft blue light. It's beautiful, he whispered. Selena opened her eyes, gasping as she saw what was happening. I can feel everything, she said, her voice filled with wonder. It's like I'm connected to the universe itself. Excellent, the custodian's voice approved. Now focus on that connection. See if you can shape it, guide it. With a look of intense concentration, Selena raised her hands. The swirling energies coalesced, forming a miniature galaxy that rotated slowly between her palms. Kai stepped closer, marveling at the detail. He could see individual stars and planets, even the faint wisps of nebula. This is incredible, Selena. You're not just manipulating energy. You're creating entire worlds. Selena's eyes widened as she realized the implications. If I can create, does that mean I can also restore? Could I bring back what was lost on Telzai and Tyr? The custodian materialized beside them, its form now resembling a wise elder. The power to create and restore is within you. Yes, but wielding such power comes with great responsibility. You must learn to balance your abilities with wisdom and restraint. Selena nodded solemnly, allowing the miniature galaxy to dissipate. I understand. I want to learn to make amends for the harm I've caused. And you will, the custodian assured her. But first, you must complete your training. Both of you. Kai looked surprised. Both of us? But I don't have any special powers. The custodian's form shifted, taking on aspects of both Kai and Selena. Your role is just as crucial, Kai. Your unwavering support and your ability to see the best in others, even in the face of fear and prejudice. These are powers in their own right. You will learn to amplify and channel these qualities to help Selena reach her full potential. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Selena and Kai immersed themselves in their training. They learned the intricacies of interdimensional travel, the delicate balance of cosmic forces, and the responsibility that came with the power to shape reality. Throughout it all, their bond grew stronger. Kai's unwavering support and optimism became the anchor that Selena needed to push her limits and confront her fears. In turn, Selena's growing confidence and mastery of her abilities inspired Kai to discover hidden depths within himself. One day, as they were practicing a particularly challenging technique involving the manipulation of time streams, the custodian appeared with an urgent message. Your training has progressed remarkably, it said, its form flickering between various alien species. But I'm afraid we must accelerate our plans. A great threat looms on the horizon, one that could unravel the very fabric of the multiverse. What quote? Selena and Kai exchanged worried glances. What kind of threat? Kai asked, his voice tense. The custodian's form settled into a somber, ancient being, with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of countless millennia. We call them the Void Eaters. They are entities from beyond the known dimensions, consuming entire realities and leaving nothing but emptiness in their wake. Selena felt a chill run down her spine. And they're coming here? To this reality? The custodian nodded gravely. Not just here. They threaten all realities, all possibilities. If they are not stopped, everything that is, was, or could be will cease to exist. Quote. Kai's jaw set with determination. How do we stop them? That, the custodian said, is where you two come in, Selena. Your ability to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality combined with Kai's unique talent for bringing out the best in others may be our only hope. The custodian waved its hand, and a shimmering portal appeared before them. Through it, they could see a vast star-filled expanse, but with an ominous darkness creeping at the edges. This portal will take you to the front lines of this conflict, the custodian explained. You will need to rally the forces of multiple realities, unite them against this common threat. It will not be easy. Many will fear Selena's powers as much as they fear the Void Eaters themselves. Selena took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. I'm ready. I've spent too long running from who I am. It's time I use my abilities to protect others, not hide from them. Kai reached out and took her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. And I'll be right there with you, every step of the way. The custodian nodded approvingly. Remember your training. Trust in each other, and you may yet save us all. The fate of the multiverse rests in your hands. With one last look at each other, Selena and Kai stepped through the portal, leaving the safety of the Nexus behind. They emerged on the bridge of a massive starship unlike anything they had ever seen before. Its walls seemed to shift and change, adapting to the thoughts and needs of its crew. Around them, beings from countless different species and realities worked in perfect harmony, each station manned by the most qualified individuals from across the multiverse. A tall, regal figure approached them. She appeared humanoid, but her skin shimmered with the light of 1,000 stars, and her eyes held the depth of galaxies. Welcome, Selena of Myria and Kai of Earth, she said, her voice resonating with power and authority. I am Admiral Zara, commander of the Multiversal Defense Fleet. We've been expecting you. Selena and Kai exchanged surprised glances before Selena spoke. You know who we are? Admiral Zara nodded, a small smile playing at her lips. The custodians informed us of your arrival. Your reputation precedes you, the Myrian with the power to reshape reality, and her human companion who can inspire hope in the darkest of times. Before they could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. The view screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life, showing a terrifying sight. A massive, writhing darkness was approaching, devouring stars and planets in its path. The Void Eaters, Admiral Zara said grimly. They've broken through our outer defenses. We need to act now, or this entire sector will be lost. Selena stepped forward, her hands beginning to glow with that familiar blue energy. Tell us what you need us to do. Admiral Zara's eyes gleamed with a mix of hope and determination. Selena, we need you to reinforce our shields. Your ability to manipulate reality might be the only thing that can withstand the Void Eater assault. Kai, your task is equally crucial. Rally our forces. Inspire them to fight, even in the face of this overwhelming darkness. Selena nodded, closing her eyes to focus her energy. The blue glow around her hands intensified, spreading throughout the ship. The crew watched in awe as the vessel's shields shimmered and strengthened, taking on a faint bluish tint. Meanwhile, Kai moved to the ship's communication array. Open a channel to all allied ships, he instructed. As the channel opened, he took a deep breath, channeling all the hope and determination he'd cultivated during his time with Selena. To all beings fighting for the preservation of our realities, Kai began, his voice resonating with conviction. I know the enemy we face seems insurmountable. I know many of you are afraid. But look around you. See the diversity, the strength that comes from our unity. We are not just fighting for our individual worlds, but for the very concept of existence itself. Together, we are stronger than any force that seeks to destroy us. Stand firm, fight with everything you have, and know that hope is not lost as long as we stand united. As Kai spoke, something remarkable happened. The morale across the fleet visibly lifted. Ships that had been retreating turned to face the oncoming darkness. Weapons fired with renewed vigor, and shields held strong against the onslaught. Admiral Zara looked at Kai with newfound respect. Impressive. Your words carry more power than any weapon we possess. But there was no time for further praise. The Void Eaters surged forward, their amorphous forms colliding with the reinforced shields of the multiversal defense fleet. Selena gritted her teeth, pouring more energy into maintaining the shields. We can't just defend forever, she said, strain evident in her voice. We need to find a way to push them back. As if in response to her words, a new alert sounded. A small ship had broken through the chaos of the battle, heading straight for their vessel. As it docked, the bridge doors slid open to reveal a familiar shimmering form. Custodian! Kai exclaimed. What are you doing here? The custodian's form settled into a battle-ready warrior. The balance has shifted. The Nexus itself is under threat. I bring with me the accumulated knowledge of countless realities on how to combat these entities. The custodian turned to Selena. Your powers, combined with the collective will of this fleet, can create a force strong enough to repel the Void Eaters, but it will require perfect synchronization and an enormous amount of energy. Selena's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. You're talking about channeling the life force of every being in this fleet through me? The strain could tear me apart. Kai stepped forward, placing a hand on Selena's shoulder. Now, not just you, us. We do this together, remember? The custodian nodded approvingly. Precisely. Kai's ability to unite and inspire will be the conduit through which the fleet's energy can safely flow into Selena. Admiral Zaprua, who had been listening intently, made a decision. It's our best chance. I'm authorizing this plan. She turned to address her crew. Prepare for a full energy transfer. Channel everything we've got into Selena and Kai. As the crew rushed to comply, Selena and Kai stood at the center of the bridge, hands clasped tightly. The custodian moved to stand behind them, its form pulsing with ancient power. Remember your training, it said softly. Trust in each other and in the connection you share. The fate of all realities rests on this moment. As the energy of the entire fleet began to flow into them, Selena and Kai gasped at the sheer magnitude of the power coursing through their bodies. It was overwhelming, terrifying, and exhilarating all at once. Selena felt as if she could see every atom, every quantum possibility of the universe unfolding before her. Kai experienced the hopes, fears, and determination of every being in the fleet as if they were his own. Together, they focused this immense power, channeling it through their bond. The energy manifested as a brilliant, pulsating sphere of light that grew between them, expanding and enveloping the entire ship. Outside, the Void Eaters recoiled as the light touched their amorphous forms. For the first time, the creatures seemed to experience pain, their darkness dissipating where the light made contact.
Admiral Zara's voice cut through the intense concentration. "It's working! Push harder!"
Selena and Kai redoubled their efforts, their bodies glowing with an intensity that was almost blinding. The sphere of light continued to expand, pushing back the encroaching darkness across the battlefield. But the strain was immense. Selena could feel her body beginning to break down under the pressure of channeling so much energy. Beside her, Kai was trembling with the effort of maintaining the connection to the entire fleet. "Kai, I don't know how much longer I can hold this," Selena gasped, her voice barely audible over the roar of energy surrounding them. Kai tightened his grip on her hands. "Just a little more," he urged, his voice strained but determined. "We're almost there. I believe in you, Selena. We can do this," the custodian's voice echoed in their minds. "Focus on your bond. Let it be your anchor in this storm of power." Selena closed her eyes, concentrating on the warmth of Kai's hands in hers, the unwavering support he had shown her since the moment they met. She thought of their journey together, the trials they had faced, the trust they had built. In that moment, their connection deepened beyond anything they had experienced before. A surge of new energy flowed through them, and the sphere of light exploded outward with renewed force. It swept across the battlefield like a tidal wave, engulfing the Void Eaters in its radiance.
The creatures writhed and twisted, their darkness unable to withstand the combined power of countless realities channeled through Selena and Kai. One by one, they began to disintegrate, their essence scattered across the multiverse. As the last of the Void Eaters vanished, the energy flowing through Selena and Kai finally subsided. They collapsed to the floor, exhausted but alive. The bridge erupted in cheers as the crew realized what had happened. Admiral Zara rushed to their side, helping them to their feet. "You did it!" she said, her voice filled with awe and gratitude. "You've saved us all!" The custodian materialized beside them, its form now radiating with a peaceful glow. "Not just this reality, but countless others. The threat of the Void Eaters has been neutralized across the multiverse." Selena leaned heavily on Kai, her body still trembling from the ordeal. "Is it really over?" she asked, hardly daring to believe it. The custodian nodded solemnly. "This battle is won, yes, but the multiverse is vast and full of wonders and dangers alike. There will always be new challenges to face, new threats to overcome." Kai managed a weak smile. "Well, whatever comes next, we'll face it together." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the full impact of what they had accomplished began to sink in. Selena and Kai found themselves surrounded by beings from across the multiverse, all eager to express their gratitude. Admiral Zara approached them once more, this time with a formal air. "On behalf of the Multiversal Defense Fleet, and indeed all realities, I thank you for your service. Your actions today have earned you a place among the greatest heroes in the history of the multiverse." Selena shook her head, still processing everything that had happened. "We just did what anyone would do when faced with such a threat." "No," the custodian interjected gently. "What you did required extraordinary courage, trust, and selflessness. You have grown far beyond what you were when you first arrived at the Nexus." Kai nodded in agreement. "We couldn't have done it alone. It was the combined effort of everyone here that made this victory possible." Admiral Zara smiled. "True. But it was your unique abilities and your unbreakable bond that turned the tide. The multiverse owes you a debt that can never be fully repaid." As the celebration continued around them, Selena and Kai found a quiet moment to themselves, gazing out at the star-filled expanse through a viewport. "So," Kai said softly, "what happens now? Where do we go from here?" Selena turned to him, her silver eyes filled with a mix of emotions: wonder, exhaustion, and a hint of uncertainty. "I'm not sure. For so long, my life was defined by running and hiding. Then it became training and preparing for this moment. Now that it's over." The custodian materialized beside them, its form now a gentle blend of starlight and shadow. "Your journey is far from over," it said, its voice carrying the weight of infinite wisdom. "The multiverse will always need protectors, beings who can stand against the darkness and maintain the delicate balance between realities." Kai's eyes lit up with excitement. "Are you offering us a job?" The custodian's form rippled with what might have been amusement. "In a manner of speaking.
We propose that you become guardians of the multiverse. Your unique abilities and the strength of your bond make you ideally suited for this role."
Selena's brow furrowed.
"What exactly would that entail?" "You would travel between realities, helping those in need, preventing catastrophes, and maintaining the cosmic balance," the custodian explained. "Your training in the Nexus has prepared you for this, but each new challenge will help you grow even further." Kai turned to Selena, taking her hands in his. "What do you think? It sounds like quite the adventure."
Selena smiled, feeling a sense of purpose and belonging she had never experienced before.
"It does, and I can't think of anyone I'd rather share that adventure with."
They turned back to the custodian, their decision made.
"We accept," they said in unison. The custodian nodded approvingly. "Then let it be so," and made. "From this day forward, you are guardians of the multiverse." As if in response to their new titles, a soft glow enveloped Selena and Kai. They felt a surge of energy, their bodies adapting to their new roles. Selena's control over her powers seemed to strengthen, while Kai felt his innate ability to inspire and unite others grow. Admiral Zara approached, having overheard the conversation. "Guardians of the multiverse," she said, testing the words. "It suits you both. Know that the multiversal defense fleet stands ready to assist you in your new role whenever you need us."
The custodian waved its hand, and a shimmering portal appeared before them.
"Your first assignment awaits. There's a reality on the brink of collapse that needs your help." Kai grinned, the prospect of a new adventure lighting up his face. "Ready to save another universe?" Selena nodded, feeling more confident and at peace with herself than ever before. "Always! Let's go make a difference!" Hand in hand, Selena and Kai stepped through the portal, ready to face whatever challenges the multiverse had in store for them. As they vanished from sight, the custodian turned to Admiral Zara.
"The multiverse is in good hands," it said softly.
Admiral Zara nodded in agreement. "Indeed it is. May their journey be long, and their bond remain unbreakable." As the portal closed behind the new guardians, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if the very fabric of reality was celebrating the beginning of a new era.
Selena, once feared and misunderstood, and Kai, the unlikely hero who saw beyond fear and prejudice, were embarking on a grand adventure that would span countless realities and touch the lives of beings beyond imagination. Their story, like the multiverse itself, was infinite in its possibilities, and as they faced each new challenge together, their love and trust in each other would only grow stronger, a beacon of hope shining across the vast expanse of existence.